the yummer. Just like any fat girl, give her a cookie and they'll go away until they want another cookie. Hey, how y'all doing out there this evening? I was lucky enough to have a little bit of signal, and I hope this lasts and stays on and all that good stuff. I just wanted to kind of give my perception on the bromance gone bad. I mean, if Musk and Trump don't make up, who's going to get custody of Joe Rogan? I have no idea. I got no idea. Monkey paw. Monkey paw. Just like the monkey paw pox turned out to be bullshit. I think that this is bullshit. But there is a coup planned against our government. Has been for decades. Probably since they brought them some bitches over here. And slowly but surely they've chipped away at things. They've worked with other countries, our enemies. Primarily China and Russia and India. And you can say India is not our enemy, then all you want. Look, in a Cold War where you're not going to use your nukes, and you got to use mind manipulation and economic sanctions and stuff like that. Building up a currency against your currency is a way of taking out a country that should be, we should have never been where we were, y'all. It has nothing to do with us, we the people, and everything to do with them who think they're in charge. But what's coming now is going to be a lot worse. If it's not stopped and handled. I often wondered if Musk wasn't some kind of plant, but now I see the whole deal. When you read all 900 and something pages, it's like reading 2 novels and very boring, and we'll put you to sleep on some of it, but then some of it will wake you the hell up. But that Project 2025, since Trump don't know anything about it and they're not implementing it, they sure are coincidentally going by the playbook. They've already gotten, caused a commotion while they got all this information on all these people that had nothing to do with we the people. But now, I take that back. It does have something to do with us, because their type of rule would be like popularity. See, they're internet people. They're like the gamers. I've often referred to Musk as, just a billionaire gamer, and now they turn the world into their games, their game station, and their Game Boy or whatever. And now they're going to sit there and play, capture the rescue the princess and all that shit, Mario Brothers, around the fucking world. And they're insane like that. And these last few pictures or videos that hey Ben, how you doing, honey? These last few videos I've seen of Musk, you're the world's richest man. You don't have to answer to nobody, pretty much. Not even the law, it seems like. And you use mental condition, Asperger's, and that's what he said it on Saturday Night Live, and that's what, he still doesn't say autism. That is misdiagnosed almost half the time for narcissistic personality disorder from people that come from the exact same situation he did in South Africa. In fact, there's people in South Africa questioning how our government trusted an illegal immigrant from South Africa into our government. That's his own people that he comes from. Hey Gary, how you doing, brother? You see what I'm saying? It's not a matter of what's happened or what are they really doing up there. It was obvious from the beginning. When you go in and you just boom, like gangbusters, and you just start all this shit, you get all these little things going. I've been playing with the dog. Excuse me. You really got to pay attention to that. Acting like breaking laws is one thing. There's nobody to enforce laws on the Senate or the. I mean, we're supposed to do that. We the people. That's in the Constitution. And you chewing up that box down there, baby. What you doing that for? And like the only time you wasn't supposed to get a senator and do a citizen's arrest on a senator or higher was when they were going to Congress to make a law. And that's in the Constitution, y'all. There's a lot of things in the Constitution that were there to protect us, and the federal government was there to ensure that we got our rights, not to do what they're doing now or have been for the last 40 or so years, which is work themselves. The federal government now has worked themselves, especially the executive branch, and just to another monarchy. I mean, there was a young girl. Hey, Amy, how you doing, honey? There was some young girl that put it together that they're all basically related. You know, and you see them in the same circles. You see them all with pictures with Epstein and these other creeps out there. But this Peter Thiel guy, yeah, he's that's where money and being picked on all your life as a nerd or a geek or something, it comes back to haunt you or haunt us. Hey, Jonathan, how you doing, brother? It comes back to haunt us because we're going to be the ones that had to stop this. And it, you know, I didn't think Trump was going to be in there long, but I figured it'd be like an assassination or something. You know, they fake some assassination. They've already played that card one time. And it got, you know, it garnered the sympathy or the reaction that they wanted from the majority of the people. And it really would be something that they could probably get away with. Because, I mean, Trump's got, y'all realize that just off that meme coin that he's got, which you can't spend, you can't do nothing with, you can only buy it and purchase it. Just the kickbacks off it, he's already made about $300,000. Bless you. He's already made about $300,000 on $300 million. $300 million. And then when he did the Tesla car thing with Elon on the White House lawn, he got a $100 million donation from Elon Musk for doing that. The jet, all that stuff, it's all illegal, but it don't matter because when you got that much money and you get together with the other people that got that much money and you have a plan and you buy out the key figures that you need to buy out and all this. And the Soviets have done it. The Chinese have done it. And it's no joke and it's no secret that you can buy a presidency. But for what? And you would buy 3 in a row? Because, see, I don't believe they bought 3 in a row because I don't think he had nothing to do with Trump's first election. He voted for Hillary, as a matter of fact. Then he voted for Biden. And it wasn't until 2024 that he voted for Trump or went Republican, he says, in 2022. So from 2008, so from Obama, he's voted for every Democrat, senator, or because they paid, you know, he was getting paid for the electric vehicles. Now he's getting a shitload of carbon credits, and he would turn around and sell those carbon credits to the other corporations that wasn't adhering to laws, but they would have the carbon credits, so that's like money to them. That's where the billions were coming from. Yeah, I don't think there's, until it was NASA, until he started getting NASA contracts, I think the most he ever made was like $300 million for the one, you know, for his payout on PayPal. But it don't matter anymore. It don't matter anymore. The things that were said, he threw it out there. I knew their egos were going to clash somewhere. That somewhere along the lines they were going to be looking at the script and saying, "Fuck that shit," and "Fuck that fat bastard," or "Fuck that damn drug addict," you know. And here we are. Because that type of evil, it don't have partners. That type of wealth doesn't have alliances. They damn sure don't have friends. They all think that they're standing alone because they're hoarding back all their money and stuff. And that's fine. I don't care how they got rich. This ain't about worrying about why they got money and other people don't, or why they're eating well and other families ain't. It ain't about that. It's about the fact that they get that kind of money. It just goes to a man's head. There's not a one man out there that's beat the money thing, except for if it's really true. Who's that? Keanu Reeves seems to give a lot of his money away. Yeah, I hear you, Amy. I mean, and that's just it. Um, we're doing a lot better, Gary. We're getting settled in. Um, the thing is, Amy, I mean, there's some people that say Musk is somebody else, and all these other people are this, that, and other. The thing is, there's a coup taking place right before in your lifetime. You're going to see a coup on the federal government, and you're probably going to watch the American people, even the American militias, let it happen. Because it's turned out to be some internet fucking popularity contest. And that's, I didn't care so much about being born under civilized systems and societies with rules of law and all this kind of stuff. But the older you get, you see why all these things are in place. Now, I'd say about 60 to 70% of our laws are laws laws of consent. So since nobody, you didn't know they were making a law, and you didn't say yes or no, then they went ahead and did what they wanted to do. So a lot of that paper law shit, I don't care about. But the basic part, so like you want to keep, I believe, Amy, I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with you. Except for the fact that these two guys went in there for ill purposes. In other words, against us. They went in to set the groundwork for what they want coming, which is this technocracy, with these fucking these billionaire software people. These internet fools, the digital currency people that are pushing that. I don't think there's not a one senator in there that wants to see digital currency, or any real true elected official. Which that's another thing. How do those senators keep getting in there every 2 years and every 2 years and every 2 years? And everybody complains about it and says, hey, we ought to have term limits and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And they still do it. It's because that whole thing is theater. That whole thing in D.C. is set up. I've always called it the D.C. puppet show. For 40 years of my life, I've called it the D.C. puppet show when I saw it for what it really was. And most people in the service, you'll come to find out, the commander-in-chief don't make the commands. Now, just because you elected a president, you say, well, he's got a mandate, which means over 50% of the vote, which, he didn't even really get that, but fine. He said he's got a mandate and this kind of stuff. It doesn't. That's within the boundaries of the United States Constitution. That is an oath they took to the Constitution, not to the president. And people out there that love Trump, you can say what you fucking want. Yeah, you got robbed with Biden. Then you got robbed with Trump. Then you got robbed with Obama. Then you got robbed with Bush Jr. Then you got robbed with Clinton. Then you got robbed with Bush Sr. You got robbed with Ronald Reagan. We've never won with D.C. Not a one fucking issue, not a one fucking time have we won with D.C. I've heard all these million-man march, million truck drive-thrus, all this kind of stuff. They never get nowhere near. You want to know why? Because a lot of people like to talk about change, but they don't want to live the change or be the change or risk what comes with making these changes happen. I'm just going to say, Mr. LeGrant, if you don't mind, how you doing, brother? And that's the sad part about it. When there was some young former Marine, I almost remembered his name right there. And, hey, Don, how you doing, hon? He was trying to get, he had everybody showing their arms on this one Facebook page, and he was going to be the one. They were going to go do this march on D.C., and I think it was back during the Obama days or something. And he wound up getting in trouble, going to jail over that kind of stuff. But people just did that. Now, if you were going to actually go somewhere armed, You wouldn't want your enemy, if that was the enemy you were going to march upon. You wouldn't want them to know how many arms you had, how many weapons you had, how many rounds of ammo you had, what kind of weapons you had. Wow. Adam Koresh, or Adam something. I think it was Adam Koresh. And but anyway, it's just insane that what people will do on this internet, not thinking about the fact that it's always monitored. They're monitoring it now to get the reaction, like Amy was saying. This is theater. They throw some things out there. I think the Trump and Elon thing was some ego bruises and some lashing back and forth like fucking kids do on the internet. I mean, excuse me, people do on the internet these days. And it's good to be back on this channel. I really thought I lost it. I really did. I really did. But it's like everything else, the internet. I mean, society had its own problems, say mid-'80s, before this shit started getting big, like in the 90s. It had its problems before the computer came. But now, where the computer was supposed to help with this, or you had people, now you could talk to people around the world about certain issues or certain problems or something like that, and evolve and do better with it. They did just the opposite. What I've seen is people that's been hurt in real life, they get on the internet and hurt people. People that's been bullied in real life, they get on the internet and bully other people. It's like they get their payback out here because they can hide. I don't hide nothing. And it's not because about being a man or being tough, or they're like, fuck it, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be me anyway. But I know what free speech, that it has a price. And I know that misleading people is probably, to me personally, misleading other people just to get views or hearts, or if you get stars or whatever you do out here, the attention part. And you're not sticking to what most, matter of fact, I believe every live caster that pretty much came out here in the beginning of what they were trying to do was just they saw something and they found a voice, a platform to use their voice. And you can see us and hear us and blah, 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 and all that good stuff, and we can interact a little bit. You can even, people can jump on sometimes, or people, you let them jump on your live feeds and stuff and talk instead of the typing part. And where'd that go? Where'd that go? It wound up being the attention part. It takes a lot for a regular average person, somebody that didn't grow up being afraid of people or being afraid of doing something like this. And I still get nervous. I still get butterflies in my stomach every time I get on one of these. But it takes a lot not to succumb to the showmanship, or being a talk show host, or having a news program, or anything, a good cooking show or something, when you can actually have done all that without trying to sensationalize it all. Make it seem like, it's got to be better than the last episode. This one's got to be better than the last video. I got to talk about something different. I got to talk about something that's in the news feed. I got to talk about something that's in the media. I got to talk about something that's political. But everything's political. That's why they politicized it. So you can't even talk about history without bringing up some left-right fucking talking point debate. That stole our communication. When the more time that we spend in the theater that Amy was talking about, and I completely agree with her, but the reality behind that theater, like they say, if they said, what Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage. All the world, and everybody's just actors and actresses in it. If all the world's a stage, that means that there is no audience. I want you to think about that. So that means you can't sit back and watch this. You are participating. Participating, not doing nothing is participating, because that's what they want you to do, is nothing. And this is drug on long enough to where people are conditioned to just taking the next whip on their back. To being locked down. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I make sure that you got me out at 7 in the morning for my breakfast there, boss. I'm going to let y'all know something, too. If they do another lockdown, don't go home. Because you won't come back out. Because they're down to the point where they've gotten too much with this Trump Musk thing since January. Since fucking January when they walked in the door, just bam, doing this stuff. It swole their heads up. They got the big heads. Now they just almost know that they're going to pull this off. And I don't really think they are. I still think it's too big. I still think that there's too many pockets of resistance that are big enough to stop anything. And you say, well, Bill, how can you stop the army? How can you stop the Predator drones? Go ask the Taliban. They did it with the Russians and us. Over 30 years of stopping major military forces. Not asking for a bit of help, even though they would get some from the other side. Because they'd like to see somebody else beat their enemy, which is cowardly to me as far as I'm concerned. Man, this whole thing's cowardly. Coups are cowardly. You know, why don't you just stand up and try to take it? But this thing that they did with the people, y'all, I'm going to be honest with you about something. They turned us against each other over health matters. That shouldn't even be the government's business. Family matters, that damn sure ain't the government's business. Social matters. The working thing. There's people out here cheering on, people not getting a break in the summertime when they work out in 100 and something degree heat, and they got to work 5 straight hours before they can get a break. Or up there in Ohio where you got to work 8 straight hours. You don't get no lunch. They don't got to give you a lunch. Down in the deep south, they got the better wages and the most time off on the job. Yeah, you might be at the job for 9 hours, but you're going to get a half-hour lunch and 2 15-minute breaks. And that's paid for. Or they don't. They don't. Like, in other words, you might not get paid for your lunch, but you get paid for the breaks. Man, it'd be nice to get paid for lunch, Well, yeah, you work off shift because Columbus was a mill town, so it was like a 3-shift town. And they had the shift differentials, they give you an extra quarter an hour for second shift, and you got, 30-minute lunch for free, so you was only at work for 8 hours. And third shift was you got 50 cents extra, and you only had to work 7.5 hours. And you got free lunch. And then first shift, you just got regular pay, and you had to be there 8.5 hours. So, but all companies and corporations are different. When they start to deregulate, and I hear people cheering on the deregulation, the regulations were for you. Not the company. It was for you. So you wouldn't get hurt on a job, so you wouldn't have to be subjected to fumes and agents of, any kind of things that would give you cancer or kill you. And people used to complain about OSHA. I've been a safety manager in a couple of shops, or had to take that role on. And the whole thing about OSHA, people look down on it, but that's actually, it saves people's lives. Because a son of a bitch that owns a company that don't have to do the work himself, or especially billionaires that just own the corporation, and you never even know what their names are on the board of directors, they'll work you to death, man. They don't care. They don't care. It's very rare. You can find a loyal boss man that appreciates a worker that's on time and all that, but you're always going to be a worker. I've worked in small machine shops where there's only like 4 of us in there, and every one of us had a key to the front door. And I worked in places like Pratt & Whitney, with 1,100 people in a 20 million square foot facility. And either way, you're at the corporation, you're a clock number, and no matter what, even in the small shops, you can go have Christmas dinner with them, go hunting with them, go fishing in the Gulf of Mexico with them, and you're still an employee. It's a mindset thing. Now put that mindset in these bastards. Think about what's going on in their mind. We are the useless eaters. We are the non-essential workers. They got their own workers to take over us, to take over for us. They're not planning on doing that much manufacturing here. All that talk, bringing this back here, doing this kind of stuff, would take at least a decade before you would see it doing any good. Or their buildings being built, their processes being worked out, all that kind of stuff. I have worked at one Pratt& Whitney facility down in Columbus, Georgia. I'm always talking about. They did build a brand new building. It was all state of the art. It was the early '80s when they started building it. It took just the construction and then the training. 1,100 people, new employees on their way of doing things. The team concept, all that stuff, all the mind stuff, all the mind fuckery, all the corporate bootlicking stuff they feed into you. It took about a year and a half after the building was built. So I think it was about 2.5 years total. And matter of fact, that's why I went into the Navy. They were saying, hey, if you got training, skills working on jet engines or working with jet engines, and they can see how you doing. You go to tech school. Well, the Navy was free. Matter of fact, they pay you. That's the way I was thinking. And there you go. But that's why I went in, to have the experience. But, I knew way before I went to the Navy, you got to have experience to get a job. But how do you get the experience? Well, that's a job. So that's kind of how I look at people like Cash Patel and stuff like that in this administration. Or the last administration, they had people in there that there's been unqualified people making decisions on your life. And since the 80s. And really, I don't see where none of them in my lifetime, in my 61 years, so that would go back to LBJ, have ever made decisions that were good for the people. You take the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which they just got rid of. That was made the year I was born. That just tore the family units apart. And it's still doing it right now, even though it's gone. And he said, well, that's why it needed to be gone. There was nothing that they went in there and took out that needed to go, except for the people in there that were stealing the money, and they still have not produced a one of them. So where'd all that money go? Was it people? Was it you? Did you get that money? Don, come on. You sporty, you get the money. They don't turn each other in. Why do you think they made such a big stink about presidential and executive branch immunity before Trump got in there? Because they was going, that's like saying, hey, all the bank robbing law, it's against the law to rob a bank, except for us, okay? We're the number one bank robbers of the world. We're going to show you how to do it without nobody getting hurt, and all we're going to take is the money. But we need immunity from the court so we can do this right. So we need the security guards to sit out, go take a break, and we're going to come in. We'll only be in there 10 minutes. And you just give us the money and everything will be fine. But we don't go to jail if we get caught. That's basically what they just did. And none of it, and I'm not sitting here like, I'd like to make some jokes about it, but this ain't even funny. Because I do believe with all my heart that all of us are going to see a coup and before we die, where we, with this, I would say within this year, before this year's out. And I don't want to see that, because it's not that it would bring on this war. I'm afraid it's going to bring, and what I'm going to see that I don't want to see, it's going to bring on this fucking bowing down and kissing the boots of these motherfucking rich bastards. That's what they fucking want. When you got all the money and you own all the stuff, and the last thing out there, the next to the last thing is man. You want to own the man, then you want to own the planet. You get it? Megalomania is a disease that there's no cure for. They can't never have enough. You could be watching hoarders on TV. They got old nasty house, and they kept every fucking piece of paper they've had since they got divorced, or whenever their depression started, or whatever caused their need to hoard everything and hold on to every little piece of something. Now think about that with money. Some of this is blatant outright, and then, like I said, since they politicized everything from the planet, our health, our families, education, all of it, everything's been politicized, so you can't hardly talk about nothing without bringing up this left-right thing. And then there's the constant deflecting and gaslighting. So if I say something, and what about Trump doing this? Say, well, what about Biden? Hillary? Obama? Bill? Why don't you just answer the question or acknowledge the subject at hand, the person that we were talking about. You don't clear his name by bringing up a dirtier person or somebody that's done the same thing. They're a criminal too. And if you pull for one side or the other in this left-right paradigm that has gone to shit, damn, Amy, I just ought to put you on here tonight. You're dead wrong. Because that, you don't care about the people. You care about the people that voted for them. The people that voted for them did not make the laws, did not make the changes, did not rob us, did not murder half the fucking world. They did. Your election don't even matter, man. Your fucking vote don't even matter. They're going to put in who they want. That's the part that drives me crazy. Because when you don't have your man in office, and I've said this a million times, and I probably have to say it a million more before the coup happens, they just, if you don't believe that, they're selected, not elected. But when your side gets somebody in there, whether you pull for them or not, you could be a closet trumpet or a closet Biden fan or something, a left-wing nut job or whatever, and not be saying nothing, but, all of a sudden you support the things. Now, what I don't like is, and he's like Trump. He comes in and does some things that were set up to be undone. The immigration thing, some of the money things, the Ukraine thing, those were set up and done just to be undone, just for you to hate on. So he comes in, he looks like a hero for doing what should have never been done to begin with. So just setting things back to right. But then you add on the other 90% of the bullshit. Yeah, they're well over 200-something thousand employees, and they're all going to have lawsuits and get their jobs back, and you watch. Now, where'd they save money on that? Where's your government efficiency on that? Just watching that man in the Oval Office, high as fuck, just sitting there doing his thing, black eye, all this fucking shit. They had the sweaty, slimy looking, clammy looking face and all. Got on the old black shit with his Doge hat on and the Doge father. You can be the richest motherfucker in the world, but that don't mean that you're the most arrogant motherfucker in the world and can pull it off. He looks like a clown. It's a costume, by the way, like Trump's suit, the light blue, the lighter blue color jacket, the red tie most of the time. It like he's out doing rallies or something all day, dressed for a rally or something. The red MAGA hat. You're wearing a hat inside our White House, gentlemen. You're a piece of fucking shit. You don't give a fuck. You don't show no respect when you go see the Saudis and you're licking their fucking ass crack. You don't got your fucking hat on. When you're fucking pulling a chair for BB, you don't have a fucking hat on. When you're over there at Kim Wong-dong in fucking Korea kissing his fucking ass, Trump wasn't wearing no hat or walking around with his MAGA hat on or acting all the fool. Elon Musk, when he goes to any other government or their leadership, he's dressed to the T. Like he would expect a billionaire to be dressed. And all that stuff about being stupid. The man has done something to his brain, and everybody already knows that. He's like a freaking Dr. Frankenstein that just had a practice on himself. He couldn't give the serum to nobody else. So I'm going to give the Wolfman serum to myself and see what happens. And I turn into the Wolfman. Oh, now I got it. What a tragedy. Because you were too smart for you fucking britches. There you go. But anyway, that's what I see with these people, man. Man, I'd like to say that we created these monsters. But we just allowed this to happen. We didn't make men like Trump. We didn't make men like Biden or Obama, the Bushes, the Bush cartel, Clinton. Wow, big a piece of shit. Yeah, any of these people. Musk, Peter Thiel, any of these crap, Larry Page, Bezos. We didn't make them who they are. They did that. We allow them and we pay them to keep doing what they're doing. And what are they doing? Have you not noticed the depopulation still going on? I guess I just can't take my eyes off of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid like that. Or I believe in payback. And I'm keeping tabs. Because somewhere along the line, somebody's going to have to stand up. It ain't just a one-person thing either. Ain't nobody Superman. And even if you was, them motherfuckers got enough money to buy some kryptonite. But there you go on that. No man is an island and no man is safe. Thinking he can go do the world harm. They got to have some kind of backup. I do think these bastards have gotten to a point in their insanity, of their maniacal insanity, that they really think they can make the army do what they want them to do. They've already proven that the last time that Trump was in office, right there at the end of it, they couldn't get the military to come vax us, or even have a part in to be like pulling up and just putting them MRAPs at each end of the street while the medics and all went and did their job. The fear tactic. They did it on the TV. They did it on the internet, but you didn't see it in the streets. Now, we saw it in other countries. And I believe it was Keith Hill, or if I'm not mistaken, called me up while they had tanks and stuff rolling through London, England up there. Over in Australia, I had friends that were telling me that the helicopters flying over playgrounds just to scare the kids into staying 6 foot apart and wearing their fucking mask. I mean, terrorism. And terrorism, its original definition was using terroristic acts for the government to control people. Lying about wars. We had not one war that we ever went into that we had a reason to be in it. But they gave you reasons. Yeah, you can go back. Iraq, babies on taking out the incubators and thrown on the floor. Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin. December 7th, the attack on Pearl Harbor, they knew was coming and let all them men die. Now, you always got to remember, false flags do not mean that there's false blood. There's normally some real blood. I don't think so with so many of the school shootings, but that's just a whole different story right there. Well, I tell you what, Amy, that's one thing I've learned not to have in life, is heroes and somebody I would say, that's my man right there. That's my boy. He got my back. Now, that's not regular people. I look at us as the structure of communities, neighborhoods, towns, cities, counties, states, and a country. It's the people, not the governments, that makes this happen. And you see what happens when we allow the government to take care of business. They took care of business. They took care of their business. I mean, from a kid hearing about, the Huey helicopter, Lyndon B. Johnson's wife had a lot of money in that helicopter company, and that's why they got those kind of crappy-ass helicopters over there in Nam and stuff like that. Every one of them has some ties to government spending, defense spending. You think it's all like somebody gets a legitimate contract. Yeah, it's not legitimate. They've had to pull strings to get that. Sure, they put bids out there. All these companies will put bids to make this part or this machine for the government or this weapon system for the government or something like that. But it's always going to go to somebody that's inside, that's already had somebody on the outside they were pulling in. It's called backpatting. Good old boy network. And it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Even with the pork spending, which is like the bit of money, tax money that's ever used to be left over, they would get to go put that on their own private interest type of stuff, Like with Trump, it's golf courses and hotels. Other presidents, it's been other things. And I can't really remember a president right now that's anywhere near this guy. I mean, there's no, not just not knowing history or really just being Donald Trump, but this whole law-breaking thing. I mean, those laws are there, but like I said, there's nobody to enforce them. If a Supreme Court justice can say, The president just broke the law. He broke the constitutional law. It's up to Congress to do something about it. Now, why are they all scared? What are they scared of? Losing a job? Wow, they're set for life as it is. So what is it they got all these senators scared of up there that they won't turn on their own people? I know they'll kill them. I know they'll wind up like a lot of these other ones, like during the COVID, the beginning of the COVID thing, you had a couple of senators that died from the COVID. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit they died from the COVID. Bullshit that make, what's his name that ran for president, died from cancer. He probably died from listening to Sarah Palin's dumb ass. But anyway, I'm trying to think of some other examples on that, but well, you know, like the Kennedy thing, they said he was shot by the one guy, and it was wound up being shot by his old lady and the guy in the front seat while it was on one of his own people. If one of your own people can take you out in D.C., is what I'm getting at. That's how they keep those senators doing what they're going to do. If they try to step outside of the script, the handwritten script by none other than Linda McMahon and Vinnie Mac. Hey, Sarah, how you doing, honey? I'm curious, though. I mean, what man were you talking about right there, though? When you said our man would be assassinated? I don't think anybody else could have got away with this because I'm not so sure that we're even under. We're not still under some type of emergency act since fucking September 11th. The war on terror is not over. Nobody has ended the war on terror. They said, well, Trump ended that his last administration. Well, that's why they went over there and bombed Syria then, huh? Oh, that's because his daddy BB said so. Then he turns around and goes to the Saudis and sells them nukes. When they get those nukes and Israel just does step out of line, they're going to take it. They're going to take them out. They want that to happen over there. Any distraction, major distraction around the world, while they sink their fucking claws into our country, our money, our system to make it theirs, the coup. They're all for. Now, you know, and I saw the beginning of this as being two different types of symbolic sacrifices. If it wasn't for the fact that I saw Donald Trump's inauguration cake and it was a plane, and a plane with the exact same markings, and where he went to go cut it with that sword, is where the helicopter hit it. It's identical. You know, you just can't put that shit. I mean, that would be one hell of a fucking coincidence. That was like a human sacrifice. Then you look at the bomb that hit Philadelphia, because that was a 2,000-pound bomb, and you look at the craters left from other bombs hitting the same thing. Well, that was Philadelphia. Philadelphia is where you would find the heart of the Constitution, the heart of America. That's the beginning of things. And that place that got hit was very symbolic. And these people, that's what they deal with, is symbols. And what cracked me up was the first thing they started giving people was this, well, DEI's hiring all these handicapped people and people that aren't, that can't control the airports. They want to control the airports, by the way. They want to have free run of that. They don't want you leaving or going unless they want you to go. And that's going to be a one-way trip to El Salvador, by the way. But their people wasn't in there. You can't get in a tower unless you guys, wow, they don't matter. You can't fly a plane. You see a pilot with the 4 bars on there, they've got thousands of flight hours. They got plenty of time under their belt. Nobody just gets in at those key positions. You might see a DEI Walmart type of person, doing a Walmart type of thing at the airport, but they ain't in no tower or nothing like that. The whole thing was bullshit. But they count on you not knowing how everything works, that they go out there and say it's not working. Oh, okay, Amy, I got you. And I tell you, I mean, that would be any woman, too. Because, you ladies, you're going to get your equality this go-round. You're going to get treated equal. And I tell you what, but I think y'all can handle it. Matter of fact, I know you can handle it. My bitch could break down a fucking AR-15, except for that first pull pin, and at 8 years old. And break it down, put it back up, and jack one in. Pop, 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 and put some rounds off. I mean, I didn't teach her that because I was a gun nut. I didn't tell her that because I was basically bored and I had this stuff to teach her with. And she always wanted to go do stuff. She was very interested. When a child is wanting to learn, a young person's wanting to learn from you, there's the time to teach. You're like, well, we're going to teach them something. They don't ever want to learn that. When they come, well, I'm wanting to learn. Which is real. You can make a lesson out of anything. I try to do it all the time, but I try to just use myself. Now, they're going to probably get it too, sir. I mean, you say control everything. We give up control. Hey, this country here, I'm not sure where you are, but, I mean, this country here, they gave up freedom for security a long time ago. But, yeah, just start back at September 11th. Free fall demolition, 3 buildings, one of them not even hit. But, man, wow, it's the Arabs. It's the fucking Arabs. Bin Laden. They've been dead for 2 years, but it's Bin Laden. I mean, they just wanted to believe something other than the truth. The truth, sometimes, y'all, for any of us, is the hardest thing to accept. Especially like when it comes to a death of a loved one. You don't want to hear that shit. You don't want to believe it. Or you were supporting this person. You really thought they was going to take your group or your country to this place they talked about so they get your vote. And you get embarrassed about it after it happens. But this bickering back and forth between the left and the right since Clinton got some head in the Oval Office, it's out of control. It's out of control. They're not, I mean, they'll sit there and point fingers at each other, but then we turn around and we're pointing fingers at each other. And we'll make excuses for the most diabolical and dastardly fucking shit that men can do to each other and make excuses for them. And this is where it's gotten us. So these people these Project 2025 people, it's like the Thiel and on down, they've been watching this. They're window peepers, by the way. And you know what I mean when I say window peepers? They're people that just watch this shit, like the CIA. Like I got all these information and data specialists and all this stuff. And they just watch stuff. Now, I know how they do it, and I know why they do it. And I know it's easy to do because you can do it on your Facebook newsfeed. You can almost profile somebody, even with a fake account, and you know it's fake. You can still profile a person. The whole thing with the avatars. Well, I agree with that. About being all about the money. But when they get all the money, then what's they going to do? Because that's what I'm saying. Megalomania is socially terminal mental condition because you got to have everything. And then when you got it all and there's nothing left to conquer, you've even conquered the mother, which you can't do. Then what are you going to do? You got to conquer yourself. They can conquer the whole world, but they can't conquer themselves. They can't see what it's really all about. Which the bad thing is, mob rules. Mob rules. Meaning the mob rules a situation. The majority of the people would rule a situation. But they've gotten us so hands off and just being, let's just not get violent, that this shit's just going to go down. So now you see who's been pushing it. And they're all in bed with Putin, and they're all in bed with Xi over there. Or Xi Hong, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't give a fuck about none of them people. I give a fuck about the people that want to live. And that's pretty much everybody. Everybody wants to live, but what do you want to live for? Now, I want to hear what you want to die for. I think we've gotten over that little saying, that little cliche, well, I'll die for this and I'll die for that. And wow. And when you're gone, then they're still, like, I'll die to protect my family. Well, you die protecting your family. Well, when you're dead, then they're really going to come get them. Then they'll really be without the dad. You got to learn to live with everything. You got to learn to use your brain. And then sometimes you got to learn when it's time to use your fist and when it's time to use something else. And when it's time to just back off and watch and wait. A lot of times just when they have us putting the pressure on each other, if we were to take that pressure off each other, and just leave each other alone with the politicized bullshit, which is everything, by the way, and we just took that pressure off, and some of us would fall backwards because we're holding it all up. We're keeping this show going. It's the reason why they have sellouts every fucking night. It's like some play or something, some Broadway play or something, and it's just that good that they sell out every fucking night. That ticket sold out for the next 5 fucking years. Because we just support it. Well, I didn't buy a ticket for this circus. I don't want to sit here and watch monkeys and motorcycle riding bears. I don't want to see people make wild animals jump through hoops. I want to see a time, and not so much of peace and prosperity. I want to see a time of people rebuilding, but rebuilding what humans are supposed to be. Rebuilding the thing that we tore down or allowed to be torn down a long time ago. What are we really? What is our purpose here on earth? This whole monopoly thing, this whole, get it all until it's gone. The one with the most toys wins in the end. It's just really been very destructive. Stupidly destructive. I call stupid evil. They're getting breastfed now, though, ain't they? He's that sort of guy, man. They're getting breastfed now, I tell you what. Lord have mercy. But, there you go. They come, that I think that's where there is a big separation with the super rich, Sarah. They don't, how many, millionaire, billionaire moms you seen, Kim Kardashian out there breastfeeding on her fake titties, or even holding her own fucking kid or something. No, they like to, I got a pet kid. I mean, a kid, it's not a pet, it's a kid, but it's the next in line. I had a boy. I'm going to keep the lineage going. My super rich MAGA daddy, he's gonna be happy I had a boy. But no, they didn't get that. But I've seen that at the poverty level too, because I didn't get that. And I could probably do some breastfeeding today because of it. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to be crude. I ain't no joking around Romeo or Romeo period, so there you go. I think that also they're taught from different types of schools and a different part of society, a different class group, that they're better. That money made them better. Then you get to ones like the creepy ones, like Paris Hilton. Like everything she touched, everybody she hung out with wound up in mental institutions. Everything she touched just was fucking ruined. And no accountability, no responsibility. And she just goes through life fucking people up. And that's what these people do. We're their playthings. We're the slaves. And when you can get that part through your head, your life becomes so much fucking easier, man. Your thought process is so much clearer because you're putting out all the other bullshit like, well, why aren't they thinking about this group of people? Or why aren't they don't think about no group of people except their own kind. And I think somebody put the number out several years ago, a long time ago, and I tend to agree with it. About 5,000 total that really feel like that's this power group of, well, whatever we are now. I'll just leave it at 7 billion. 5,000 got most of the fucking money. They own most of the government. Have all this crap in the sky, all the crap in the ground, all the buildings, all the inventions. And it's always their stuff. Just because they got the money to make their bad ideas become reality. Just like Rockefeller and the fucking oil and the pipelines and the petroleum medications. Then he got the government. He bought him a president, McKinley. And look at the shit they changed with the Department of Education. Oh, the whole government period. But we brought them down then. That's why I don't think it's going to work now. Even with the computer, even with the weakening of the humans on this planet. It was the human beings. How about that? I think even with all that in their favor, they're not going to pull it off. I really don't see it. I mean, it's just too big. You could plan for all these things. You could have contingency plans for all your plans. And you could have contingency plans for them. And then a backup. It's too big. There's too many people. I think when they, in 92, when they announced Agenda 21 at the Rio Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, I think that maybe, if they'd have had us at that with this mindset today, back then, they might have got away with it then. With there being lesser people. There's too many people. And these people are going to start feeling hungry here pretty soon. They're either going to beg for food and go to these cities and have to do whatever it is to get the food, which is probably be vaccinated, or whatever. I mean, that's the plan on it. That's what they say. And, but you can't leave out the fact that everybody ain't going to go up and do that. Some people, wow, and I'm one of them, that look at, there's a billion things worse than dying. And the top of the list is fucking sucking up to evil or being, just being a fucking coward. So you're gonna come to a time here very soon, and you'll see for yourself, and you probably already have. I mean, or know that this is coming, where you're gonna have to make this decision. Like in Christians talk about taking the mark of the beast, or it's just succumbing to the evil. Now, they've already got a lot of people doing that. I have literally watched people on live feeds and in just threads and stuff, and with their posts, cheering on the deaths of children being just blown up, killed. Now, not just in Iraq, everywhere around the world, being starved out. Somewhere along the line, they deserved it. Oh, but they're in Africa. They're over there in Indonesia, Shanghai. Ain't that where they get all the drunks and get them out on the tuna boats, making tuna fish, canning tuna fish for the rest of their 2 years of their life? You look down on other people. Why? Oh, because we're so great? Because we got it made over here in America? The whole world could have had it made. And if it wasn't for us letting these people be the monsters that they are. And it's hard to fight them without having to be like them. So I do adhere, and I will never become the monster I fight. That always comes in my mind when no matter how mad I get at a person or a situation or whatever, and my first thought is like, you, get your rope. No, I'm not going to become the monster I fight. But there's also a difference between dealing justice to those that have done wrong. That's not being monstrous. That's being responsible. That's sticking to the base law. Don't kill. Don't steal. Don't hurt another person. But see, now they got it. Don't hurt another person no matter what. Even if they're killing you, you don't fucking lift a hand. No, you lift a hand. But I do hate the fact that, you're going to have to make decisions here. And whatever, particular party is in power or whatever, and they say, we want you to make this decision, that group will go along with that. Look at what the Democrats did with Biden. Look at what the Trumpets have done with Trump. Look at the Obama zombies did with Obama. Look at all the Bush lovers. Just let them cocksucking oil barons get away with that shit. And wow, how can anybody miss that right there? You had Bush daddy in 91 say, we're going to have a new world order. And in 2001, 10 years later, his son, another president, ushers it in. You can't beat that. Hey, Jackie, how you doing, brother? And there you go. That's all I can say about that. It's all been in your face. Every one of them have worked together. None of them hate each other, but we hate each other. We point the finger at each other. We blame each other for the things that they do. The one part of it I can't stand, and I'm not going to go off on it or try to be crude about it, but you got to leave the soldiers out of it, saying, oh, they just go to kill. They joined to be that way. No, you got into a spot. Let me tell you somebody that joined. You get in there and you don't really realize at 18 years old or 19 years old how it really is. You don't think about that stuff. You think about a paycheck and education or whatever it is you're going to learn in there and getting out in 4 years. And that 4 years ain't that far away. And that there's no jobs that are just going to hire you without no experience. They want somebody with experience, but until you get hired, how do you get the fucking experience? You go into the military. It's not their fault. It's like blaming the M6 or the Abrams tank or the Apache gunship. Like, you can't blame the tool. What do you think GI means? I mean, a government issue. Yeah, they can actually give you time in Leavenworth for getting a tattoo because it's government property. So you gave up yourself for a while. But don't be getting on to them. Now, the ones that, yeah, there's some in there. I'd say about 10% of them, 10% of the people that join the military actually want to be the first kid on their street to get a confirmed kill, you know? I mean, they want to go do that kind of stuff. What got them to that point? And that takes you back to these video games, the things that we're subjected to, the advertising. Everything is advertised in sex and violence, if you ain't never noticed. Sex and violence. That's what sells. When they started letting the video games just go and the music lyrics stay the same, I just saw a destruction of society, of human decency towards each other, respect for the individual, and then you're gonna give me I'm gonna get my respect. I deserve respect. No, you don't. You deserve the chance to earn some respect, though. You can earn some respect. Other than that, you're just gonna get the little bit that you're supposed to get just so we can all be cool, with each other. But I'm not giving nobody nothing. I don't want it given to me. I earned everything that I've gotten, whether it's good or bad, and I've learned from every bit of that. And I think that's the winning side of bad things, is learning from them. You fuck up, you do something wrong, you learn from it. You guide others away from that. You can't make nobody do nothing, but you can help guide them away from that. You can say, hey, drinking like that ain't going to be no good for you later on. Smoking cigarettes ain't going to be good for you. Doing drugs ain't going to be good for you. It's only going to lead to this. Look at what happened to me. You think you're that much smarter than me? And guess what? Most people always do think they're smarter than you until this fucking shit happens to them. And I don't know how many hundreds, if not well over 1,000 apologies I've gotten are like, wow, Uncle Bill or Brother Bill or Bill, you was right. I wish I'd listened to you, because I don't know how many times I've said it to an elder or somebody older or somebody just looking out for me because they've been there and done it. But you don't have anybody like that looking out for you in that little 10 square miles called D.C. Nobody. They're going to walk all over us like fucking wholesale carpet, y'all. And they got the momentum. And the bad thing is, they really believe in their minds they can do it. This last little act with Musk and Trump bitching at each other like some fucking elementary school kids or something on the internet, on their social media platforms. I agree with you. At least Joe Rogan was honest about it. Their son, Trump and Musk's son, Joe Rogan. At least he was honest about it. He said he saw the change in Elon when he bought Twitter. He said it changed him. He sits out there and he fucks with people all day, and that's what his life's turned out to be. That's what I've been telling y'all for years. Your avatar self, when you act like somebody different, sooner or later, your character is going to take over, and you're going to be that way in public, in the real world. And that's when you are going to walk around with a shiner or a fucking sore jaw or a fat lip. Because you start acting like that in public, wow, just fucking wow. And like I said, I met over a dozen people that talk shit online, and all of a sudden we meet in public, and they're like, hey, Bill, what's going on, brother? Yeah, I'll tell you what's going on. Hey, Jody, how you doing, honey? I'm going to give you a call tomorrow. But anyway, I'm about to get off here anyway. I just wanted to bring up this point about if you like Trump and Musk, you lean towards the right or whatever, or you're just a full-blown trumpet and a musketeer or a muskinite, don't be sad, because I don't think they're really fighting. If you don't like them and you're saying, oh, I'm glad this has happened and I knew this was going to happen, don't get happy, because it's just their way of ushering in the next phase of Project 2025. And whether you like to read or not, but if you can read, pull the fucking document up. Not the YouTube video where I tell you what Project 2025 is in a minute and a half. All right? Get the fucking document and read it. It is 900 something pages long. I tell you what, you could probably skip between around page 75 to probably around page 150. Other than that, you need to read the whole thing. The rest of it's just BS. I mean, that part I was talking about. Anyway, I say about the first part of it's very important, and then there's like a bunch of ideology and philosophies thrown out there, all fascist type, like somebody that would think that they're better than another person or a whole other group of people, and they're going to control them. That would be talking. But the things that they wanted to implement, like I said, the very first thing was the rage, the retiring all government employees and doing it real quick and doing it for all these crazy reasons. And you notice that all their reasons for doing stuff now, do you see that they were just projecting? They're like people taking advantage of their position in government, but you're selling Teslas out on the White House lawn, you jackass. Or these people are getting things from other countries. How did this woman get all these houses and she's only been a senator for 2 years? How did you get a plane from Qatar? So every time they go point, or Joe Biden did this, he's a criminal, but you got 34 felonies. Huh. So you're just projecting. They just say the other side's doing it, but actually there's no other side with them. We're the only people in America that have the left-right paradigm stuck in our brain. They're on the same page because they're the whole bird. They're not just a wing of the bird. They're the whole bird, and they don't care if it flies. They just care if it gets fat off our money and our sweat and our blood. And that needs to come back to that. What you live for? I live for other people that want to live. And I mean live. Not survive, even though we might have to and be prepared to. But live. Free. And die the way we want to, not for something, just because that's what comes naturally on this planet. You only got so much time. So use it wisely. And look, you can't be overly mad and wanting payback, but you can't be trying to blow rainbow farts on them to keep them away. There's a balance in the anger, the righteous anger, and the using the power of loving other people and loving life against these people. There's a balance in that. You use that in your thought process from now on when you're talking to other people. Because some people say things and they might seem like they really know what they're saying or they really believe what they're saying. They're just trying to find out if they're right. They're just trying to get somebody to agree with them because they don't know if they're right. They're just as lost as you've been lost on things or lost on things right now, and myself included. So you can either help them out of the darkness or you can go in there with them and hold them and say, oh, it'll feel better when the light comes. Or you can say, hey, here's my hand. You grab my hand, I'm pulling you out. Come on out. I've been there too. We all have. So let's be looking out for each other, all right? And yeah, I was kind of happy when I saw that. The first thing I saw was fake, where Musk was, or Trump was saying something about him, calling him mediocre Musk or something like that. That was fake. But the other stuff they said, about Trump being in the Epstein files, everybody already knows that. Because Ghislaine, or whatever name, Maxwell, she had her trial down in Florida. All that documents was out there. That's been out there since 2023. Y'all should have already known that stuff. They got at least 7 trips on the Lolita Express, and one of them was with 2 of his kids. But, anybody else comes close to that, or that you'll always hear about everybody else when you bring that up. That's called gaslighting. Don't do that. Just say, hey, you're right. That's why he was on there that many times. It was in a court document. It was used as evidence. But I mean, right now, this is how bad the Trumpists are. Right now, Trump could come out himself and say that. Well, I used to go down there to Epstein Island and have some fun. They're making him say that. They're making him say that. He's saying that because that's part of the 5D chess. The 5D chess. I tell you what, I ain't learned the 1D chess. I'm a checker player. But anyway, I'll let y'all have your evening back. Just be real and be looking after each other. And also just be looking after yourself up here and in your heart. Because this will make you apathetic really bad when you see people acting stupid and you're like, yeah, that's becoming the monster that you fight. Some of them we can bring back in. Some of them you need to just leave them out there. You're going to have to figure that out. There's no rule book on that. But anyway, I love y'all. Have a great weekend. Don't live in fear.